Have you ever been so in love that you just couldn't see the truth in front of you? Like, you knew deep down something wasn't quite right, but your heart told you otherwise. Love has this strange way of blinding us. It makes us overlook little signs, ignore whispers, and sometimes even excuse things that, looking back, we probably shouldn't have. And that's exactly what happened with Angelina Jolie when she found herself in the middle of a love story that turned into one of Hollywood's biggest scandals. She was so caught up, so swept away, that she ended up saying something that shocked fans everywhere. She admitted something about her relationship with Brad Pitt that made the world look at her, and him, very differently. And that one admission, whether she realized it or not, made people question if Brad really cheated on Jennifer Aniston. Now, let's be real for a second. When you hear the names Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, what comes to mind? Probably that they were the perfect couple, right? They were Hollywood royalty. The kind of couple that looked flawless on every red carpet. Smiling, laughing, hand in hand. Everyone thought they had the fairy tale marriage. They were adored, not just in the industry, but by fans all over the world. But as we know, even the most perfect-looking relationships can hide cracks. Behind the glitz and glam, things aren't always what they seem. And in this story, those cracks started to show the moment Angelina Jolie stepped into the picture. Brad and Angelina first crossed paths while filming the action comedy Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And let's be honest, the chemistry was undeniable. You could see it on screen, the playful banter, the tension, the spark. It was electric. Too electric, some might say. And soon, people began to wonder if that spark was only for the cameras or if something much deeper was happening behind the scenes. For a long time, Brad and Angelina denied anything inappropriate happened while he was still married. They insisted they were just friends, just co-stars, nothing more. But here's the thing. Angelina, maybe without even realizing it, later admitted that she and Brad did fall in love while filming that movie. And that admission changed everything. Think about it. She wasn't just confirming that there were feelings. She was confirming the timeline. She was basically saying, yes, while Brad was still married to Jennifer, they were already falling for each other. That's not speculation. That's not rumor. That came straight from Angelina herself. Now, let's pause and look at it from Angelina's side. She wasn't trying to be cruel. She wasn't trying to stir the pot. She was just in love. She was proud. She felt like she had found something real, and she spoke about it openly. But here's the problem. Sometimes, when we speak from love, we forget how our words land on someone else. Have you ever been so excited to share something, you blurted it out, only to realize later, wow, that probably wasn't the best thing to say at that time? That's what happened here. Angelina was excited. She was happy. She spoke from the heart. But to Jennifer, and to Jennifer's fans, it felt like confirmation of their worst fears. It felt like Angelina was pulling the curtain back on the heartbreak Jennifer was already living through. And the world didn't take it lightly. The media went into overdrive. Headlines labeled Angelina the other woman. The homewrecker. It became a narrative that followed her for years. No matter what amazing things she did after, her charity work, her humanitarian missions, adopting children from around the world, that label stuck. And it all traced back to that one simple admission. Isn't it crazy how one sentence, one comment, can define someone for years? That's the thing with fame. The world is always listening. Every word, every action, gets magnified. And Angelina learned that the hard way. But here's where it gets interesting. Was Angelina really the villain in all of this? Or was she just too honest, too open, while Brad stayed silent? Because let's not forget, Brad never really said much about the situation. He didn't come out to defend Jennifer. He didn't clarify the timeline. He let the story swirl while staying mostly quiet. And sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. So, was Angelina's openness really the problem? Or was Brad's silence the bigger betrayal? That's the question people still debate today. And you know what? This whole situation is such a clear example of how love can blind us. When you're in it, when you're swept up in the excitement of new feelings, you don't always see the bigger picture. Angelina wasn't thinking about Jennifer. She wasn't thinking about the media. She was thinking about her and Brad. About their connection. About their future. But the truth is, her happiness came at the cost of someone else's heartbreak. And that's where it gets complicated. Because is love still beautiful if it causes pain to someone else? It reminds me of how relationships, especially in the public eye, aren't just about two people. They're about perception. About timing. About context. Angelina might have been speaking her truth. But the way it landed was completely different from how she meant it. And maybe that's the real lesson here. That even in our own lives, in our friendships, in our families, we have to be careful about how and when we share things. Because timing matters. Context matters. Words stick. Now, imagine being Jennifer during all this. She wasn't just losing her husband. She was watching it all play out on magazine covers, on TV, everywhere she turned. And then hearing Angelina confirm that love had blossomed during her marriage? That must have felt like twisting the knife. No wonder fans rallied behind her. No wonder Angelina's words became so infamous. But let's circle back to the bigger question. Was Angelina truly being malicious, or was she just blinded by love? Personally, it feels more like the second. She was swept away. She spoke without thinking about the consequences. She was blinded by the rush of it all. And that's something I think we can all relate to, even if our stories aren't splashed across tabloids. Haven't you ever said something in the moment that felt harmless, but later realized it hurt someone else? Haven't you ever been so wrapped up in your feelings that you forgot to see things from another perspective? That's what makes this story so human. Beneath the Hollywood drama, it's really just about love, mistakes, and the way our choices affect others. And in the end, that's why people still talk about this triangle: Brad, Jennifer, and Angelina. It wasn't just a love story. It was a story of heartbreak, betrayal, and timing. A story of words that couldn't be taken back. A story where silence from one person and openness from another painted two very different pictures. So, where does that leave us? Maybe with this thought: love isn't always clean. It's messy. It's complicated. It can make us do things we later regret. And in Angelina's case, it made her share something that changed her reputation forever. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Angelina was just telling her truth, or do you think she crossed a line when she admitted that she and Brad fell in love while he was still married? Was she a victim of her own honesty, or was she being careless with someone else's pain? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know how you see it. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Hollywood's most famous love triangles, you should definitely check out my video on Jennifer Aniston's journey after the split. It's eye-opening, and I think you'll find it just as fascinating. And hey, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Make sure you hit subscribe if you want more stories like this, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss out. Because at the end of the day, these aren't just celebrity stories. They're reminders that love can be beautiful, but also complicated, messy, and sometimes painful. And maybe that's what makes it so real.